When it comes to large three-row luxury SUVs, Mercedes-Benz has been playing in that space for nearly 20 years, with the original GL class introduced in America back in 2005. Now, back in 2016, Mercedes-Benz renamed the car to the GLS class to show its new position as the S-class of SUVs, and back in 2020, we saw an all-new third generation of the GLS. Moving it to the current architecture of the GLE, it essentially got an all-new design, an all-new interior, even more space on the inside, and just more luxury to show its new position in the hierarchy. Now, for 2024, we are seeing a bunch of extensive changes to the GLS, including more power, new tech, and updated style. And this week, as you can see, Mercedes-Benz has loaned us the base engine in the family. This right here is a 2024 GLS 450. And the big question I want answered, for those of you who are looking for the ultimate luxury three-row SUV, has Mercedes-Benz made enough changes to the GLS to keep this model fresh? Stay tuned to find out. Now, before we start talking about the exterior styling changes that Mercedes has made for 2024, I thought I'd pop the hood and show you guys what's powering this thing. Now, like the other members of the GLS family, Mercedes-Benz offers plenty of engine options. This right here, however, has the base engine, which means we have a 3-liter turbocharged inline-6 under the hood. Now, if you guys have been familiar with the Mercedes-Benz family, you should be familiar with this engine. This is essentially the company's new 3-liter turbocharged inline-6. Remember, this engine replaced the old V6 about 4 years ago, back in 2020. It is also electrically assisted by a 48-volt mild hybrid system, which essentially helps smooth out the start-stop transition. It adds a little bit of horsepower and torque by itself when you're first starting out. Combined output is now 375 horsepower. That's up 13 horsepower from the 2023 model. Torque remains the same at 369 pound-feet. Now, those numbers are pretty much right in line with the updates that BMW made to the xDrive 40i in the BMW X7, which also makes 375 horsepower. It all goes out through a 9-speed automatic transmission, and Mercedes' 4Matic all-wheel drive system is going to be standard here. Fuel economy is rated at 19 in the city, 24 on the highway. That's, of course, on premium gas. This thing has a pretty big 23.8 gallon fuel tank, which means you'll be looking at around 500 miles of range between fill-ups. So again, if you guys are looking at electric vehicles, this has roughly twice the range because it is a mild hybrid gas-powered vehicle. Now, in terms of performance, Mercedes-Benz claims this model should get to 60 in 5.8 seconds. We'll test it out using our equipment and see what we can get today. In terms of the top speed, this vehicle has a top speed of around 130 miles an hour. This vehicle will also tow a maximum of 7,700 pounds. That's when you get the tow package. And as this car sits, it weighs in at just over 5,400 pounds. But let's go ahead and close up this hood and talk about the exterior styling. Now, you guys know the GLS when it was first introduced back in 2020. This is the third generation. I wasn't necessarily the biggest fan of the design. I thought it looked a little bit too curvy, a little too minivan-like. And for 2024, the basic silhouette is the same, but you can see it has a new front fascia. Now, all models of the GLS will come with Mercedes' full multi-beam LED headlights. You can see my tester also has LED daytime running lights and turn signals, LED low and high beams. The front fascia, you can see the grille and the bumper is all new. You can see there's these new dark chrome vertical slats that flow nicely into the Mercedes logo, the 3-pointed star logo that houses the radar sensor for the adaptive cruise control and whatnot. And then my tester has the AMG body styling package for $3,200 extra. You can see it adds some piano black accents, a more aggressive front splitter, along with some functional and non-functional vents. You can see over here there are some integrated parking sensors. No actual fog lights on this vehicle. You can see the front splitter is also black painted. The grille, I think, looks pretty nice, along with the double Mercedes logo. This color is called Ceramite Gray Metallic. It's like a $600 upcharge. It certainly looks good out in the sun, but overall, let me know what you guys think of the updates. It's pretty subtle. Unless you guys are sitting next to or parked next to the pre-refresh model, you probably won't even notice this car has a different look. Although compared to the last GLS that I tested back in 2021, this model with the AMG body styling package looks a lot better. Now, moving around the side profile, this is the biggest SUV in Mercedes' portfolio, at 205 inches long with a 123.8-inch long wheelbase. This is definitely big, although it's not quite as big as like an Escalade or a Lincoln Navigator. It's around 6 inches shorter than those. This is about 2 inches longer than a BMW X7 and around 2 inches longer than the new Lexus TX and around 10 inches longer than a lot of its main rivals. You can see with the AMG body styling package, you also get these body colored wheel arches and the lower trim, which looks great. My tester also has for $1,300 an optional AMG 22-inch wheel, 21 21s are going to be standard. This 22 is optional, riding on a 285 by 45 R22 tire. Typically, this car comes with Pirelli summer tires, but Mercedes has so graciously fitted some Pirelli Scorpio winter tires because we are, again, in January now here in the PA area. You can see the brakes. Those are the brakes specific with the AMG body styling, which are cross-drilled. 4-piston rotors. You also have an adjustable air suspension that's standard on every GLS. The Trick E active body control airmatic suspension is optional on the 580 model, which is a $6,500 charge. This allows you to raise the suspension up and down by 1.2 inches. Base ground clearance for this car is around 7.9 inches. Now, looking at the side mirrors, you can see the AMG body styling package includes black painted mirrors, which are power folding, integrated turn signals. The surround view 4-camera system is standard equipment now on all trims. And then you can see over here the window trim has now been blacked out. A panoramic sunroof is also standard equipment. It also opens up, which is nice, along with these roof rails, which are very, very functional, if not the most aerodynamic. And then looking at this profile here from this angle, you can see the GLS, actually, to me, I didn't love the styling back then, but I think with the AMG body styling package with the right color, the right wheels, it's an attractive SUV, although I do think that the BMW X7 is a little bit more sporty and a little more appealing in my eyes. Now, looking at the rear, you can see the back end styling looks pretty much the same aside from the new taillights. You can see it has a new light signature for the full LED taillights, LED reverse lights, LED turn signals and whatnot. There's a lot of badging back here to show that you have the 450 and of course 4Matic, which is standard. Down here, you can see the AMG body styling includes a more aggressive rear diffuser with the integrated exhaust tips. You can see, although those are actually just a fake exhaust tip, the actual muffler is tucked away underneath the rear bumper, which is a little bit disappointing. You can get an accessory to get like a more pronounced rear spoiler, like the fact that there's still a rear window wiper, of course. And then looking at the cargo area, this is where the GLS has an advantage, of course, compared to the BMW X7. With all the seats up, remember this is their 3-row vehicle, comes standard with a 3rd row, you get around 17.4 cubic feet of storage space. That's around 5 more cubic feet than what you get in the BMW X7. I tested one about 6 months ago. I can clearly see this is a lot more usable, of course. Underneath here, you can see there is some underfloor storage along with a temporary spare tire, which is nice. If you want to fold down the seats, you can do that electrically. Just push, of course, this button that will power fold the seats for you. And then when you fold down the 2nd row or the 3rd row seats, you can see you can also remove this little cover. Mercedes says you have around 48 cubic feet of total storage space. And if you want to fold down the 3rd row or the 2nd row, you can actually do that here from just a little button. Back here, it's power folding. You can see that will allow the seats to electrically fold. My tester has the 7-passenger seating. You can also get a captain's chairs, which will reduce the seating to 6. But with all the seats folded, Mercedes says you get around 84.7 cubic feet of total storage space. 84.7 is certainly good, although if you guys are looking at a Tahoe or an Escalade or a Yukon, you're going to have almost twice the space, I believe. A Lexus TX also offers around 98 cubic feet of space. The BMW X7 also offers around 90 cubic feet of total storage space with all the seats folded. But overall, this is still a very practical and usable trunk area in the GLS. So on the outside, the 2024 GLS doesn't look all that different versus a 2023 model, but let's go ahead and hop inside the interior and show you guys some of the changes. Before we get inside, however, here is the current key fob that Mercedes-Benz uses. This is the company's intelligent access key with usual buttons here for lock, unlock, power liftgate, and panic function. This key fob is a pretty nice size. It has a high quality feel to it. And then as you approach the door handle, you can see it's a traditional door handle, none of that pop-out door handles that you find on the electric versions of a lot of Mercedes vehicles. If I touch this little area here, that locks the door for you. It also power folds the mirrors in. And then when you want to unlock the door, just touch the back of the door handle there. That will unlock the door for you. This car does not offer a walkaway auto lock or unlock feature, and that's something that BMW has offered for a while, so a little disappointed that Mercedes-Benz doesn't have that. Now, in terms of the interior, you can see the selenite gray metallic exterior of my tester is complemented by this Bohemia brown and black full leather interior. This is the upgraded leather for an extra $1,600. The leather feels very plush and high quality. The seats are also very nicely bolstered, and they offer around 18 different ways of adjustability, including a massage function and heated and ventilated seats. The massage function is optional, part of the exclusive package upgrade for $1,700 that my tester has. The heated and cooled seats, however, is standard. You also have your controls here on the door panel. You have your buttons here, actual hard buttons for the heated and cooled seats, and 3-person memory on both the driver and on the passenger side, which is nice. The door panel, you can see, has the MB Tech stitching with the contrasting stitching as well, where it's padded here, aluminum door handle here. You have a 13-speaker Burmester stereo system, which sounds good. If you want even more of an audio experience, you can spend around $5,000 to get the 29-speaker version of the Burmester sound system. Haven't heard it yet, but the 13-speaker sounds great. You can see hard touch plastic down here, a little disappointing considering the price class of this vehicle and where it fits in the hierarchy. But overall, the interior makes a great first impression. The only thing that I see that's new so far is the steering wheel. That's the new steering wheel that was introduced on the new Mercedes-AMG SL class. Now, stepping inside, because this vehicle has just under 8 inches of ground clearance, it has a nice, easy step-in height. As I get in and shut the door has a nice solid sounding thunk. My tester is missing for an additional $500 the soft close feature, which you can spec up as a la carte option. Now, starting the vehicle up, you can see the start stop button is located down here with your foot on the brake. The engine will kind of just whir to life, and the reason why it doesn't have that traditional starter noise is because of the 48-volt mild hybrid system. So it kind of just starts up very gradually. It doesn't have that kind of abrupt noise that you hear from a traditional engine starting. And then, of course, what you're hearing is the 3-liter turbocharged inline 6. So no more V6, you have an inline 6, which is nice. In terms of the rest of the dash, you can see my tester has the optional for $350 more, the MB text stitching on the upper door panel on the dash, which looks nice. You have this kind of natural grain gray oak wood, which is an extra $160. It's splashed from the door panel onto the dash. It looks and feels real. It smells real. It has a nice high quality feel. I love the textured grain matte finish to it as well. The steering wheel I mentioned earlier, this is the AMG sports steering wheel that comes with the AMG body styling package. You can see it has a power tilt and telescoping function. It also has a heated steering wheel, which is controlled via this little secondary toggle right above the actual toggle to move the steering wheel up and down. That heated steering wheel is an extra like $150, I believe. So make sure that you guys check that option if you live in a colder climate. The wheel itself looks really nice. You have these touch sensitive buttons to control that screen and to control that screen here, along with your audio and cruise control information, paddles on the wheel to control the 9-speed auto. The horn, it sounds nondescript, but it also sounds appropriate, not puny given the size of this vehicle. And then looking at the rest of the dash, you can see every version of the GLS has this massive two 12.3-inch displays. A 12.3-inch display here, which you can also customize by going into the little menu screen here. We can go to like a sport look, an understated look, a classic look, navigation, driver assistance, off-road. This all is pretty nice, although the actual layout does look different versus the non-refreshed model to it. And then you have a 12.3-inch display here, which has the latest version of MBUX, and now it also has wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. You can see when I go to the CarPlay, it now takes up the entire screen. Before, it only took up like 80% of the screen. It left these two big black areas that were non-usable, and you also had a wired connection. This now is much quicker, snappier, and responsive. It looks a lot better as well, considering it takes up the entire screen, so no complaints there. Going back to the embedded system, you can see the embedded GPS. Looks nice. It now includes augmented reality in all versions. When you guys get navigation, you can see it's very quick and snappy and responsive. Most of you probably won't use the embedded GPS in the Benz, and you'll just end up using the CarPlay anyways, so that's something to keep in mind. Love the fact that this is now, looking a lot more upscale and modern. Now, putting the vehicle into reverse, you can see there's your full 360 camera. The surround view camera is actually standard equipment on every version. It's not part of an option package anymore. You can see it gives you a full 360 surround view look to it if you guys want to start doing a perimeter scan. The graphics and resolution, among the best in the industry. I love how it even matches the color, although the wheels are not the correct wheels as the one that's actually on the outside, but you can't really complain with this. It is a wonderful full 360 camera system that I think most people are going to love. This car also has voice commands, so I can say things like, "Hey Mercedes, turn on driver's seat massage." Of course, it didn't work there. "Hey Mercedes, turn on driver's seat massage."
I'm switching on the massage on the driver's seat.
So again, the massage function is great, and it has several different modes. Surprisingly, I can't believe the personal assistant didn't work the first time. Usually it comes on all the time when I'm not trying to actually speak to the system. You can see there's all these different levels of massage here, which looks great. You also have a thing called seat kinetics where it'll move the seat every couple of minutes to kind of keep you from getting fatigued. And you also have the usual beautiful ambient lighting in here, where Mercedes offers several different colors. My personal favorite is the ultramarine. The lighting in this vehicle just looks even better at night. And what's great is you can also see it kind of during the day as well. And Mercedes offers several different kind of multiple colors and different animations with the lighting. It just all adds to a premium ambience, and I think Mercedes does around the best in terms of the ambient lighting. Now down here you can see you have actual buttons here for your climate control knobs. There's a quad zone climate control. There's an optional 5 zone if you guys want to go for spending an extra $600, I think. If you open up this big door, you can see your wireless phone charging pad is here. The wireless phone charger also works extremely reliably. I can leave my phone there and it just continuously charges it. You have 2 USB-C charging ports, cup holders here. My tester is missing the heated and cooled cup holders, which are part of the Pinnacle package for $3,500 extra. Again, you don't get that when you guys don't have that Pinnacle package. Down here you can see there's an actual touchpad. If you guys don't want to use the touch or the screen to actually touch it, you can just use this little pad. You have a volume knob here. Your drive mode selector is here. There's like 6 different modes going from an individual, sport, comfort, eco, and off-road setting. My tester, however, is lacking the off-road package, which also gives you skid plates and will give you the ability to kind of raise the vehicle even further. Your air suspension toggle is right located here. Nice little rest for your hand if you're using this little touchpad. Love the grab handles here along with the ambient lighting. And then if you look at this, this is nice and padded, of course. Open this up, you get another USB in there, and it's a pretty deep and usable center console storage area. The seats, like I said earlier, they are covered in this very nice plush leather for $1,600 extra. This is called Bohemia Brown. It's a new color this year. It looks good, of course, with the black and the two-tone. And the massage function, like I said, works really well. You can open up the glove box here. It's damped and lined with felt. It's a bin style. It offers a huge amount of storage space. Over here you can see you have an auto dimming rearview mirror, although Mercedes does not offer a digital camera rearview mirror. And then this big panoramic glass roof, which has a retractable shade, and it also opens. This is going to be standard equipment on every version of the GLS. Typically some brands make you pay extra for that, so it's great that Mercedes gives it to you as standard. You have a woven headliner material here along with some LED map lighting, which is nice. But overall, the interior of this car, even though this is not the fully loaded Pinnacle, still feels very nice. It's got some great new tech features. And really, for those of you who are looking for the S-Class of luxury SUVs, you're not going to find it much further than this GLS class. Now moving on to the second row of this vehicle, remember this is their flagship SUV, and it certainly is going to offer the space that you're looking for if you guys plan to carry 5, 6, or 7 people, or up to 7 people. You can see my tester has the bench seat, which means it seats up to 7. This is actually a no-charge option. If you guys want the captain's chairs, it's free. You just have to tell the factory whether you want the captain's chairs or the bench. I personally would go with the bench just to preserve that 7-passenger seating. You can see the door panel back here has the same soft touch MB Tex upper stitching with the gray oak wood, padded over here, aluminum trim for the window controls, of course, for the speaker grills. All 4 of the windows are one touch up and down, and then hard touch plastic down here. Now in terms of the space, Mercedes says in the second row here, there's around 41 inches of legroom back here. Now, getting back here, 41 inches is a huge amount. You can see that sadly there is no flat floor here, but you do get your own set of climate controls, quad zone climate control. I don't think it's really needed to go for the 5th zone. The 5th zone is for the 3rd row. I just think that that's not necessary. You do have rear seat air vents here. You have storage pockets. Your actual vents are also here in the B pillar, which is nice. In terms of the space, you can see this is where I'd have the seat to drive. Plenty of room to stretch my legs out. The seats themselves also are power adjustable. You can also recline them and stuff. You can also adjust the head restraint up and down. It's actually a power up and down head restraint, which I wasn't expecting to find that here in this price category, which is nice. You have 2 USB-C charging ports, which is great. And then if you fold this down, you can see there's a little bit of storage over here, and you also have your cup holders that pop out to give you, again, that cup holder storage along with the actual storage down here in the door pockets. In terms of the headroom space, you can see there's actually plenty of headroom for somebody my height, especially with the sunroof taking up the room. It comes all the way to the back here, so it lets in a lot of light. So the second row area is definitely a great place to spend time. Again, I would go with the bench to give you that extra seating capacity. Now, getting into the 3rd row, this is where the GLS's 3rd row access, to me, I think is kind of annoying, because when you want to get back here, this seat is power. So if you want to fold this seat out of the way, you have to basically pull that button toward you and hold it for a second. Once you hold it, it will start to move this seat forward, and it actually moves the driver's seat as well. It tilts the seat forward, so the fact that it tilts it this way allows you to keep a child seat latched onto this, although it kind of squishes itself far forward that I don't think that it would let you move it forward. Again, I don't have a child seat to demonstrate that, but once you're back here, you can see the space back here doesn't look like a lot. In fact, you can only see there's basically 2 seats back here as opposed to 3. Surprised this car doesn't accommodate three in the third row, which is a little bit annoying. But getting back here, you can see to actually feel comfortable, you need to kind of up this. You need to open that up, and you can hear the MBUX assistant was kind of annoyingly blabbing, so that's kind of annoying. But as I get back here, Mercedes-Benz basically says there's 34 inches of legroom back here. Now, 34 inches, I have to say, where is the 34 inches? Because this is with the seat all the way back, and if you guys want to bring this seat back, you basically push this little toggle here, and you really have to watch where your feet is going to go, because this will essentially latch back into place. And you can see when you put this seat back, it actually doesn't go back into the position that I left it, because this is with the seat all the way back, giving you the full 41 inches of legroom. This is where it leaves the seat at, and this is probably reducing the legroom by 5. So maybe with the seat in this position, you do have 33 inches of legroom perhaps. So it's certainly usable. As you can see, it's relatively usable, although I will say that the headroom space back here is better versus the last BMW X7 that I tested. There's a couple more inches of headroom back here, which is nice, but the legroom space, this is pretty comparable to the Lexus TX, although again, this is with the second row seat kind of pushed forward as opposed to it being all the way back. When it's all the way back, you can see my knee is basically up against this here, and I'm not super comfortable in this position if this is all the way back, so you have to ask this passenger to move that seat forward. In terms of the materials back here, it's hard touch plastic, padded over here in leather stitching with 2 USB-C charging ports, which is nice. Same thing over here on this side. So overall, if you guys need to actually carry full-size adults, the GLS will certainly do it, and I think it has more space than the BMW X7, but if you require more space, be sure to check out the Lexus TX, and of course, there's the American offerings like the Jeep Grand Wagoneer, the Cadillac Escalade, and the Lincoln Navigator. So as the largest vehicle in the SUV portfolio from Mercedes, the GLS is obviously a very important model in the company's lineup. Now, even though this car is the biggest, it is technically not the most expensive SUV they make. That is reserved, of course, for the G-Wagon, the G-Class. But because it got a pretty significant overhaul for 2024, I thought I'd show you guys again what this vehicle is like to live with on a day-to-day basis. Now, the last time I drove a GLS 450 was almost 3 years ago, and that's at the time when the new generation of this car first came out. Remember that back then it had 362 horsepower from its 3-liter turbo inline-6 with a mild hybrid system. Now it makes 375 horsepower. Mercedes says it should get to 60 in 5.8 seconds. The last time I tested one, I got 5.6. And this car's closest competitor, the BMW X7, I got 5.4 seconds on this same stretch of road that I'm about to test. So let's go ahead and see what we can get here in the Mercedes-Benz GLS, the Merc equivalent. So we'll go ahead and we'll brake torque it. Very nice. Love the sounds also from that inline-6. Wow, we just got 5.3 seconds. So that is about a half a second faster than Mercedes' claim, and it's about 0.3 seconds faster than the last GLS that I tested, the pre-refresh model. And this is also quicker versus the BMW X7 xDrive 40i. I'm actually very surprised that the Mercedes is quicker than the BMW. Technically, the Beamer is always usually the faster option, but it's pleasantly surprising to see the Mercedes offer this much performance, especially from the base engine car. Now, most people are gonna probably end up going with the inline-6. It is a smooth and refined engine, and it also now has that, or it has that mild hybrid assist, so you can essentially get the same, the best gas mileage in this family of engines. But let's go ahead and try it here one more time. Let's see what we can get on this stretch. Let the boost build. All right, we got 5.8 there. So remember, that's with it more going slightly uphill. So in real world testing, people are going to be able to hit 60 miles an hour in easily under 6 seconds for this car. And it should offer plenty of performance, lots of smoothness. Love the inline-6, love the fact that Mercedes went to an inline-6 a few years ago. And they also, again, boosted the horsepower this year. So it essentially makes the same horsepower as the BMW equivalent, the X7. So nothing really to complain about with the power. I know for me personally, I would also love to, try out the V8 version, which I've already had a chance to test. There's there's an AMG version if you guys want more power. But to be honest, most people in this space, they're gonna kind of get into this and they're gonna say this is plenty of performance for the majority of buyers out there. Now, this vehicle does come standard, of course, with the company's 4Matic air suspension. If you guys want the e-active body control, which is the electronic air suspension that also gives you the ability to kind of do that little bounce up and down when you're trying to get unstuck from sand and whatnot, it's really just kind of like a low rider from the factory. That is a $6,500 extra charge that is only available on the 580 version. So you have to go for the V8. The AMG model also doesn't offer that e-active body control, but for the most part, this standard air suspension, as I get stuck behind this very, very slow car in front of me, this air suspension is very nicely tuned. This car has one of the best ride qualities in the segment. And I'm saying this driving around a car that has 22-inch wheels. It has the optional AMG 22-inch wheel on a Pirelli winter tire. So they actually replaced the summer tire that this car comes with a winter tire to show that it is, again, in wintertime here in the Pennsylvania area, which is really, really nice. But I think for the majority of people, the handling of this car is also competent. The steering provides a good amount of responsiveness to it, not much in terms of feel, but it does feel, quick. It feels precise. It feels like a much smaller vehicle to drive in day-to-day driving than it actually is. And then when you just put your foot down in just normal driving, it even feels pretty fast. So the torque is rich, it feels effortless. It also is very smooth, very little to no turbo lag. The 9-speed auto is a Mercedes design transmission and it works pretty well. Only times where like I was stuck in traffic and I was kind of trying to get it to downshift a few gears, that's where it would get confused a couple times. But most of the times the power delivery and the shift quality is very, very smooth. I want to try it here one more time just to see if we can get a consistent performance. Short shifts at 5,800, but then it shifts at 65 on the second gear. 5.6 there, so my quickest time was 5.3, but again, that time is pretty darn good. If you guys go for the V8, you should be able to shave at least a second off that time. The AMG model should easily do it in the mid 3.5 second range. But putting my foot down here, you can feel the back end sending the power, but really, really nice overall drivetrain. Good visibility as well throughout. I can see out of the fronts, the side, the rear also really well. This is where this car's kind of minivan shape is very easy to drive in day-to-day driving because you have good sight lines throughout. You have comfortable seats as well. I'm sitting here getting a massage, of course. My tester has the exclusive Trimline upgrade package, so it includes the active front seat massage with the seat kinetics and whatnot. The new steering wheel also feels nice in my hands. Love the fact that it has a flat bottom steering design. You get that when you guys go for the AMG line sport package with this new AMG style steering wheel, which is nice. The driver assistance in this car is all standard equipment now. That's new for 2024, along with the full 360 camera. Love the fact that Mercedes made that equipment as standard for 2024. I mean, this is one of their biggest and most expensive SUVs, so you kind of expect that kind of, upgraded, stuff is not options and whatnot. In terms of just driving this vehicle around town, normally I have it switched back into comfort mode. This is where you're gonna get the best ride quality. It's really quiet in here. My tester has the acoustic comfort package, so it has double insulated glass essentially. And it's just quiet in here. This is exactly what you'd expect from a car wearing the 3-pointed star badge, especially at this price point. If you guys plan on taking a lot of road trips in this car, you're going to enjoy it in this vehicle because of the massaging seats, the comfort, the luxury. There isn't a squeak and rattle in this interior, which I expect, of course, wearing the Mercedes badge. And then in terms of fuel efficiency, this is where this car is surprisingly efficient, although it's not quite as efficient as the the BMW X7 with their turbocharged inline-6. Now, because of this car's massive, nearly 24-gallon fuel tank, it was showing around 530 miles of range on a full tank. In my week's worth of testing, I averaged closer to 500 miles of range, which is excellent, which means that this car was averaging around 20.5 miles to the gallon. 20.5 is pretty much right on target with what Mercedes, or what the EPA says. You'll get 21 mpg combined, 19.24 on premium gas. I did get a little bit better MPG in the BMW equivalent, but 500 miles of range is excellent. I think people who are looking at the electric equivalent of this car, like an EQS, this has about twice the range of that Mercedes EQS, which is their electric SUV, which isn't quite as big. It doesn't look. It looks even more ugly and more egg-like versus this car, which kind of just looks a little more like a minivan. But I do think with the AMG line package and these big 22-inch wheels, you can also get a 23 if you want. This car certainly looks imposing. It looks expensive. It just doesn't have, for me, as as a look that looks as nice as the BMW X7. I think personally the X7 looks better. The Lexus TX is also a competitor, although the Lexus is significantly less expensive, which some would say looks kind of like a Toyota Highlander. A Grand Highlander or an Audi Q7 is also a competitor, although it's not quite as big as this car. You're really going to be comparing this thing to like a Navigator, a Cadillac Escalade, a Jeep Grand Wagoneer, for example. But overall, for those of you who are looking at a Mercedes GLS, you want basically the room and practicality for your family. As long as you don't need maximum amount of cargo and third row seat space, both, that's where the Americans come to play. The inline 6 equipped model is definitely, you know, a really easy choice to recommend. It offers plenty of power, good fuel efficiency, good handling, plush interior, which is what you expect. And then for those of you who have even deeper pockets, you can obviously go for the V8 or go for the AMG versions, which I'm hoping to eventually get a hold of for testing sometime in the near future. So after spending a week with the refreshed version of the Mercedes-Benz GLS 450, I have to say, when this car first came out, when this generation first came out, I wasn't in love with the design. However, the interior space, flexibility, tech, and practicality were just near the top of the segment. So after spending some time with the refreshed version, obviously Mercedes-Benz has made some key improvements here. I was really happy to see more power essentially across the board, along with better fuel efficiency, especially for this inline 6 version, which is the mild hybrid, of course. In terms of the interior, the tech got a nice upgrade. The overall look of the dash is the same, but we have the latest version of the MBUX, which now includes wireless Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. It also has the full screen capability, which really frustrated me in the pre-refresh model, how you had to plug in your phone via a wired connection, and then the CarPlay didn't take up the entire screen. In terms of the second and third row, they are definitely up there in the top of the segment with around 41 inches of legroom. You can also get captain's chairs. I am sad to see that the third row, to me, still isn't super accommodating for actual adults. Although Mercedes says there's around 34 inches of legroom back there, I kind of find that number to be confusing because it definitely doesn't feel quite as spacious as what I consider the new benchmark, which is the Lexus TX. Although some would say the Lexus TX technically is kind of like a class below this car. This competes with vehicles like the Escalade and the Lincoln Navigator, which do have tops in the segment in terms of third row seating capacity, and you can also get big amounts of trunk space, especially if you guys go for the long wheelbase version. The Jeep Grand Wagoneer also is another excellent choice out there. In terms of the performance, this 450 with its inline 6 offers smooth and refined power along with great gas mileage, although the BMW X7 is going to get even better gas mileage still. And then of course, if you guys look at a Lexus TX 500H, that also is a hybrid that should also get better fuel economy, around 5 mpg better versus this car, but still 500 miles of range is excellent. Really, when it comes down to the price, this is where the GLS is going to start to show a little bit of some flaws because of that 3-pointed star badge. Mercedes in general tends to be more expensive, and I have to say, when I first had a chance to spend a week with the GLS 450, it was around almost 3 years ago. It was a 2021 model, and I remember back then the base price of this car was around $77,000. Today in 2024, the base price of a GLS 450 now starts at $87,000. So in 3 years, Mercedes has jacked up the price by $10,000. It doesn't seem right to me, but of course, if you're looking at its competitive set, the BMW X7 is around $5,000 less expensive. A Cadillac Escalade and Lincoln Navigator are also around $82,000 to start. So Mercedes does charge you a pretty penny, but they do come with a lot of standard equipment such as the full speed range adaptive cruise and driver assistance, the panoramic sunroof, the surround view 360 camera, heated and cooled seats. That's all standard equipment. So that's great to see Mercedes-Benz kind of upping the content along with upping the price. Now my tester here has several options on it, from the AMG body styling package to the upgraded Bohemia brown leather interior, of course, the 22-inch wheels. This model here with destination and the color upcharge is coming in around $97,000. I know $97,000 definitely sounds like a lot of money, and keep in mind there are still some options that this car is missing where you could easily balloon the price to over $100,000. If you guys want the V8 powered 580, that starts at around $112,000, and then there's the GLS 63 AMG. Well, that starts at around $145,000. So again, the GLS has a pretty big price spread for those of you who have even deeper pockets, but for those of you who must have the ultimate 3-row luxury SUV and you have to have something from the Mercedes-Benz family, the GLS, the refreshed GLS, is certainly still worth a look. But with all that said, hope you guys have enjoyed my full overview on the brand new 2024 Mercedes-Benz GLS 450. If you're also looking to see the latest cars I'm testing, be sure to follow me on Instagram at redline_reviews, like us on Facebook, and as always guys, please keep subscribing to the Redline Reviews YouTube channel for all the latest reviews. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you all in the next video.